Bright Duty. Every student matters.
Hello dear students, welcome to another lecture, and in today's class we are going to continue with the chapter number 9, which is Riders to the Sea. So as we already know that this play revolves around people of a family who got their meals, who got everything from the sea, both bad luck as well as money. We learned about Maurya, a poor and unlucky mother who had lost her husband's father and her 6 sons to the sea. She was waiting for her son Michael's body to be washed ashore because he had gone to the sea but did not return thereafter. She had 2 daughters, Kathleen and Nora. Kathleen was the elder daughter and Nora was the younger one. The only living son that she had was Bartley. As the play began, we read that Kathleen was baking a cake, and after she had made all the arrangements for the cake, she she started spinning the wheel, and that is how she kept herself occupied. Now thereafter, we also read that Bartley was planning to go to the Galway fair. His mother did not want that to happen because a mother who had lost all the family members, all the male family members to the sea, she would obviously not want any more bad luck to fall on her. So that is why she did not wish for this to be happened. But Bartley was very adamant. He just wanted this at any cost, and therefore he started making his preparations for the same. Now, Kathleen and Nora were also in a fix because Nora had been handed over a bundle by the young priest, and according to the priest, the bundle, that basically was a set of clothes that probably belonged to Michael, and the priest wanted the 2 girls to identify whether they actually belonged to Michael or not. So we read about it, and then we also studied that they were hiding that piece of cloth from their mother because they knew how much the mother was already suffering and how much she was crying and lamenting over what had done, and they did not wish to bother her again. But after Bartley had gone, they scolded their mother because obviously the mother did not bless Bartley before going, and the girls believed that they already have a lot of ill luck in their family and they would not want anything else to happen. So they wanted their mother to go to meet Bartley and to bid him luck. So we'd see now what happens next. Okay. So Bartley went, Maurya crying out as he's in the door. So while Bartley was still standing midway, at the door, by the door, Maurya was crying out. She said, "He's gone now. God spare us and we'll not see him again. He's gone now, and when the black night is falling, I'll have no son left me in the world." So Maurya was somehow sure and certain that when Bartley goes to the sea is not going to spare him. So she was determined that even Bartley is, she was obviously sure that Bartley is not going to come back alive. So she said that he's gone now. So Bartley is also gone. God spare us. I just want God to spare us this time, to save us this time. And she says that I know we will not see him again. I know we are not going to meet him again. He's gone now, and when the black night is falling, I will have no son left me in the world. She said that Bartley is gone, and I know then when the black night is falling. So the black night refers to the unfortunate night, or that black day when she knows that her son is also going to be taken away from her by the sea. So she says that when the night is black, I know that my son is also not going to be spared, and I will be that unfortunate mother who will have no living son left in this world. Kathleen says, why would not you give him your blessing? And he, looking round in the door, isn't it sorrow enough is on everyone in this house without your sending him out with an unlucky word behind him and a hard word in his ear? Now, Kathleen was very upset with the behavior of her mother, and she did not like it at all. She did not approve of it at all. She says that why would not you give him your blessing? That when Bartley was going, why did you not bless him? And he, looking round in the door, she says that he stopped at the door. He looked around. He looked, to you when he was leaving, but you did not bless him at all. She says that isn't it sorrow enough is on everyone in this house without your sending him out with an unlucky word. So Kathleen was telling her mother that there is already a lot of ill luck in the house, and you sending your son like this without a blessing and an unlucky word, not only behind him but also in his ear. What does in his ear means? That when Bartley was in the house, even then Moria was not at all nice to him. Even then Moria did not bless him or did not speak anything good to him. So Kathleen said that you are not only saying bad after he has left, that is behind his back, you are speaking bad things about him, and when he was in the house, onto his face also you were very rude. So she did not like it. Moria takes up the tongs and begins raking the fire aimlessly without looking around. Raking means poking. When you light a fire somewhere, you use the embers or the coal, to get fire in the house, and you have to turn them over, you have to poke them so that the fresh ones can come over and it can give you more heat and more warmth. So Moria, she took up those tongs. Tongs are those things which are used in the kitchen for making chapatis. So she took up the tongs and she started poking at the coal which was kept there. Nora, turning towards her, you are taking away the turf from the cake? So Nora said, she looked at Kathleen and she pointed out that you are taking away the turf. Now if you remember, Kathleen had put some extra turf on the outskirts of the cake so that it would bake quickly. Turf was meant to keep the cake warm. So Nora noticed that Kathleen was taking away that turf from the cake. So she asked her why. Kathleen, she started crying and said, "The Son of God, forgive us, Nora. We are after forgetting his bit of bread." So she started crying and she said that I hope that God will forgive us because we forgot that Bartley was also to be given his share of bread. When I made this bread, it was for 4 of us. You, me, our mother and Bartley. Now that he is gone, his share of bread is still with us. So she was feeling very bad about that. She comes over to the fire. Nora says, and it's destroyed. He'll be going till dark night, and he after eating nothing since the sun went up. So Nora, both the sisters, as you can see, have been portrayed to be very sensible and very mature and very caring. So Nora also agreed with Kathleen. She said that, our brother Bartley will have to be up till night. He is going to be awake till late night. He will have to face the darkness of the sea, and he has not eaten anything since the sun went up. That is, since morning he did not eat anything at all and he'll have to be like this till night. So Kathleen, she brought out the cake from the oven and she said, "It is destroyed, he'll be surely." So here the word destroyed means that, a person, it is used to refer to Bartley that he's going to be in trouble, he's going to be very sad, he's going to be very annoyed. Okay, so that is why destroyed is used here. So Kathleen also said that, yes, I agree, Bartley is going to be very, very upset. There's no sense left on any person in a house where an old woman will be talking forever. Kathleen said that we are living in a house with our old mother who keeps on talking all the time. And living in such a house has made us also very senseless. Even we have lost our senses. Even we are not doing the right things. This is what Kathleen said. Moria sways herself on her stool. So swaying means moving. We have those rocking chairs also in which you can sway yourself. So Moria was sitting on a stool and she was swaying herself on that stool. Kathleen again continued, "Let you go down now to the spring well and give him this, and he passing. You will see him then, and the dark word will be broken. And you can say, God speed you, the way he'll be easy in his mind." So Kathleen, she cut a piece of cake from what she had baked. She wrapped it in a piece of cloth and she gave it to Moria. She told Moria that now you will go to the spring well, that is the place where Bartley has gone, and you will give this cake to him. You will meet him, and this dark word means this ill luck that is prevailing in our mind, this doubt which is prevailing in our mind, that since you did not wish him, since you did not bid him a good luck, then something bad is going to happen. So this thing is going to come to an end, and when you meet Bartley, you have to tell him, God speed you. So you have to bless him. That God speed you means, I wish with the help of God you are able to come back home soon. And this way he'll be easy in his mind. So she was like that he is actually going to feel very good when you as a mother will bless him and will meet him before he leaves for the fair. Moria takes that bread and says, will I be in it as soon as himself? So she was confused whether she'd be able to reach that place on time. She was not sure whether she'd be able to reach on time. Kathleen says, if you go now quickly. So Kathleen told her that if you'd be quick, if you are going to be quick, only then you can be sure to reach that place on time. Moria stood up, but she was unsteady. She could not stand properly on her feet. So she said that it's hard set I am to walk. So for her, it was difficult to walk. She had a problem, it was not possible for her to walk comfortably. Kathleen looked at her with anxiousness. She was worried for her mother. She told Nora, give her the stick, Nora, or maybe she'll slip on the big stones. So you see, the caring attitude of Kathleen is brought to the fore with every single dialogue of hers. So she told Nora to give their mother a stick, so that with the help of that stick she'd be able to walk properly, or else she might slip on the stones. Nora asked her, what stick? And Kathleen said, the stick Michael brought from Connemara. So it was the same stick that Michael had brought. Moria took that stick that Nora gave her. In the big world, the old people do be leaving things after them for their sons and children. But in this place, it is the young men do be leaving things behind for them that do be old. So this was something that was actually the sorrow, the grief of this mother who herself was alive, but she had lost her sons. So she said that this world, in this big world, we always expect that the old people would die. And when they die, they leave behind their things for their children, for the young people. But she says that in this place, that is in this house, it is totally the opposite. The young people keep on going and they leave behind their things for the old. So she obviously was feeling very, very sad for that. She goes out slowly. Nora goes over to the ladder. So the moment Moria goes out, Nora also goes nearby that ladder. Which ladder? The ladder that was to take them to the loft where they had hidden those clothes. Kathleen said, "Wait, Nora, maybe she'd turn back quickly. She's that sorry. God help her. You would not know the thing she'd do." So Kathleen told Nora to wait because she thought that maybe her mother is going to return back. And she also commented that she is very sorry for her. She feels very bad, for her condition, for her sadness, for her grief. And she says that she is in such a condition that you do not know what she is going to do next. You just cannot assume what she is going to do next. Nora asks Kathleen, "Is she gone by the bush? Gone by the bush? So has she crossed that bush?" Kathleen looked out and said, "She's gone now. Throw it down quickly, for the Lord knows when she'll be out at it again." So Kathleen was confirmed that their mother had gone, and she told Nora to throw that bundle quickly because she was like, God knows when she'll be out of it again. So you don't know when she's going to suddenly reappear in the house. So we'll have to be through with whatever we want to do. Nora, getting the bundle from the loft, the young priest said he'd be passing tomorrow and we might go down and speak to him below. If it's Michael's, they are surely. So Nora threw the bundle down and she told Kathleen that the young priest is going to pass by our house tomorrow, and he told me that we should confirm to him if these clothes actually belong to Michael. Kathleen took the bundle and she asked her, did he say what way they were found? So in what condition were these clothes found? Nora came down and said, there were two men, says he, and they rowing round with poteen before the cocks crowed, and the oar of one of them caught the body, and they passing the black cliffs of the north. So Nora told her that the priest said that there were two men and they were rowing. They were rowing their boat with poteen. Poteen is something which is made of potatoes. So they had a lot of poteen with themselves, and before the cocks started crowing. Cocks, we all know, the masculine gender of a hen. So the cocks started crowing, and then one of the cocks caught hold of the body, and then the person whom the cocks had got, that person fell into the sea near the black cliffs of the north. So it was because of this accident that the person fell into the sea. Kathleen was trying to open the bundle. She said to Nora, give me a knife, Nora. The strings perished with the salt water, and there's a black knot on it you would not loosen in a week. So she said that please give me the knife, because the string, with which this bundle is packed, that has perished with the salt water. Perished, disappeared. So because of the salt water, I am unable to find that string, and there is a small black knot, which is so tight that you cannot even expect to open it in a week. So Nora gave her the knife and she said that I've heard tell it was a long way to Donegal. So she says that I have heard that the place where this body was drowned in the water, so there's a lot of distance between that place and the place Donegal where these clothes were found. Kathleen, she cut the string and she said, it is surely. There was a man in here a while ago. The man sold us that knife and he said, if you set off walking from the rocks beyond, it would be 7 days you'd be in Donegal. So Kathleen cut the string and she said that surely there is a lot of distance between Donegal and those cliffs, those black mountains. There was a man in here a while ago. So, some times ago, there was a man and the man had sold us this knife. And he said, if you set off walking from the rocks beyond it, it would be 7 days you'd be in Donegal. So, she was just trying to remember about this place Donegal, and she mentioned that the same man who had sold her this knife, he had confirmed that it would take 7 days for one to reach Donegal from those cliffs. Nora said, and what time would a man take? And he floating? So she asked that, and what about if a man is floating? When a man is walking, he would take 7 days to reach Donegal. But if a man is floating, then in that case, how much time would a man take? Kathleen opened the bundle and she took out one stocking from it. So there was one sock. And they both started looking at that sock eagerly with a lot of attention. Kathleen in a low voice said, the Lord spare us, Nora. Isn't it a queer, hard thing to say if it's his? They are surely. Queer means strange. So Kathleen, she looked at that stocking and she said that God spare us. I wish just God should bless us. But don't you think it is very strange and it is very difficult for us to confirm that this sock belongs to Michael or not? Nora said, I will get his shirt off the hook the way we can put the one flannel on the other. She looks through some clothes hanging in the corner. It's not with them, Kathleen, and where will it be? So Nora said that I will do one thing. I will go inside and will bring one of the other shirts of Michael. Then we will keep this shirt that we have found that the priest has given us and Michael's shirt that we have together in order to compare the material, in order to compare flannel. Flannel refers to the material of that shirt. She went inside, she started looking for Michael's shirt, but she was not able to find it. So she asked Kathleen that where do you think would we be able to get his shirt? Kathleen says, I am thinking Bartley put it on him this morning, for his own shirt was heavy with the salt in it. There's a bit of a sleeve was of the same stuff. Give me that and it will do. So Kathleen said that I believe Bartley wore Michael's shirt in the morning because his own shirt had become very heavy because of the salt. Now, since they had the work related to sea only, they had to be in the sea the whole day, and sea has got water, salt, right? We all know salty water. So, because of the salt, the shirt was spoiled, and that is why, according to Kathleen, Bartley had worn Michael's shirt. Then she pointed to a corner and she said that there is one of the sleeves of the shirt which is there. So if you can bring that, I will compare. That will help me to compare the two materials. Nora brings it to her and they both started comparing the flannel, the material of those shirts. Kathleen says, "It is the same stuff, Nora, but if it is itself, aren't there great rolls of it in the shops of the Galway? And isn't it many other men may have a shirt of it as well as Michael himself?" So Kathleen, when she compared the two material, she said that, "Nora, these two things are actually the same. But how can we be so sure? Because don't you think that this material with which these two shirts are made, the same material would be lying in abundance in the shops of Galway? Moreover, there are going to be so many men who would have used the same material to get a shirt made for themselves." Nora, who's taken up the stocking and counted the stitches, crying out. So Nora had that stocking in her hand. She saw the stitches on it. Stitches, when the cloth tears from somewhere, you stitch it using the thread. So she was counting the stitches, and after she had counted them, she started to cry. "It is Michael, Kathleen, it is Michael. God spare his soul, and what will herself say when she hears this story and Bartley on the sea?" So Nora started crying bitterly, and she told her sister Kathleen that these clothes actually belong to Michael. God spare his soul. So they blessed his soul, since now he was no more. So he said, "God spare his soul, but think what we are going to tell herself." Herself refers to their mother. So she asked that, "What are we going to tell our mother when she hears this story? Because one of her son is dead and the other son is on the sea." So imagine what she is going to get through at that time. Kathleen, she takes that stocking and she says that, "How can you be so sure? This is just a plain stocking. This is nothing but a plain stocking that we have." Now Nora says that it is the second one of the third pair I knitted. So, and I put up 3 score stitches and I dropped 4 of them. So Nora says that I knitted this stocking. This is the second of the third pair. So she said that I had knitted 3 pairs of stockings, and of the third pair, this is the second stocking. And she says that I am sure that these stockings belong to Michael because I myself had put 3 stitches and I dropped 4 of them. So there were 3 stitches on that stocking that Nora had only made, and that is how she was sure that those stockings belonged to Michael. Kathleen also counted the stitches and she said that it's that number is in it. She started crying. "Ah, Nora, isn't it a bitter thing to think of him floating that way to the far north, and no one too keen to him but the black hags and do be flying on the sea?" So Kathleen also counted the stitches, and after she had counted them, she also started crying. She said, "Nora, this is such a sad thing that Michael was floating, that, he did not have any other chance, but he floated on the sea and he went to the far end of the north to Donegal, and there was no one to keen him. There was nobody to pay attention to him, to take care of him, but the black hags." Hags refer to the witches. We usually believe this is a supernatural thing which is connected with the sea, that it is full of spirits and it is full of supernatural elements. So she said that there was nobody around our brother when he was floating to the far north. It was only the witches who were flying over him all through the while he was floating. Nora swinging herself round and throwing out her arms on the clothes. So Nora was also shaken, she was grief-stricken, and she threw her arms on the clothes. Threw her arms on the clothes when you see something which is very dear to you, close to you. So you hug that person or that thing very tightly. So she took those clothes in her arms and she said, "And isn't it a pitiful thing when there's nothing left of a man who was a great rower and a fisher but a piece of an old shirt and a plain stocking?" So Nora also said that, don't you think it is such a pitiful, it is such a sad thing that a man who when alive was such a good rower, who knew how to row the boat so well, he was such a great fisherman also. And now that he's dead, the only thing that we have of him is one shirt and one sock. That's it. Kathleen, after an instant, so immediately they felt as if somebody was coming. So Kathleen said, "Tell me, is herself coming, Nora? I hear a little sound on the path." So Kathleen heard somebody coming. She asked Nora if it was their mother, and she said that I can hear her sound on the path. Nora looked out and she said that yes, she is Kathleen. She's coming to the door. Kathleen says, "Put these things away before she'll come in. Maybe it's easier she'll be after giving her blessing to Bartley, and we won't let on we've heard anything the time he's on the sea." So Kathleen told Nora to put everything away. So she told Nora to hide those clothes again, because according to her, she felt that now that their mother had blessed Bartley, she has met Bartley before going, she would be feeling a little good. She'd be feeling a little okay. And she did not want their mother to again feel bad about something. And she said that we won't tell her anything till the time Bartley is on the sea. Because if we tell her now, she's going to have all the bad thoughts in her mind. So we will not tell her anything at this moment. Nora helped Kathleen to close the bundle. So they closed that bundle again and she said, "We'll put them here in the corner." So they hid the bundle again. They put them into a hole in the chimney corner. Kathleen goes back to the spinning wheel. So in order to make everything look okay, they put those clothes, that bundle, in the corner near the chimney, and Kathleen also went back to the spinning wheel. So she wanted to show to her mother that everything was okay. Nora said, "Will she see it? Was crying I was." So Nora asked Kathleen that would my mother be able to make out that I was crying. Kathleen says, "Keep your back to the door. The way the light will not be on you." So Kathleen suggested to Nora to stand in such a manner that her back is towards the door and no light will fall on her face, and her face would not be very well visible to their mother. Nora sits down on the chimney corner with her back to the door. Moria comes in very slowly without looking at the girls and goes over to her stool at the other side of fire. The cloth with the bread is still in her hand. The girls look at each other and Nora points to the bundle of bread. So Kathleen sat by the spinning wheel. Nora sat in the corner near the chimney in such a way that her back was towards the door. Moria entered very slowly. She did not look at the girl. She did not say anything. She straightaway sat on that little stool she had on the other side of the fire, and that cloth which had bread in it, that cloth was still there in her hand. So Nora pointed out to that cloth. Nora showed that cloth to Kathleen. Kathleen after spinning for a moment. You did not give him his bit of bread. Moria begins to keen softly without turning around. So Kathleen stopped herself from spinning. She asked Moria that you did not give him that piece of bread, the bread that we had given to you in order to further give him. Why did you not give that to him? So Moria started to keen. She started to cry softly. She did not say anything, neither did she look at her girls. Kathleen asks Moria, did you see him riding down? Did you see Bartley going in front of you? Moria continues to cry. Kathleen gets a little impatient and she asks, God forgive you. Isn't it a better thing to raise your voice and tell what you've seen than to be making lamentation for a thing that's done? Did you see, Bartley? I am saying to you. So Kathleen got a little irritated, she got a little impatient and she scolded her mother and she said that God forgive you, I am very sorry that I am scolding you like this, but don't you think that it is very much better if you will tell us what you have seen rather than lamenting, rather than crying over what has been done? So Kathleen thought that Moria was still crying over the death of Michael, and that is why she scolded her that there is no point, crying now. Did you see Bartley? I am saying to you. So she asked her mother again that did you see Bartley? Did you meet him? Moria with a weak voice, my heart's broken from this day. So she said that from this day I am telling you that my heart is broken. I know I am no longer going to be a woman with heart or with feelings or with emotions anymore. Kathleen again as before means the same impatience, the same irritability she had in her voice. So she said that did you see Bartley? She again asked the same thing. I seen the fearfulest thing. Moria said that I saw something which was very, very fearful, which was very, very scary. Kathleen left her wheel and she looked out. God forgive you. He's riding the mare now over the green head and the grey pony behind him. So Catherine looked outside and she said that he's riding the mare. So the horse that he's riding on is the one which has a green head, and then behind his horse there is a grey pony. There's a small grey pony which is following him. Moria starts means she becomes very surprised. She was shocked. She was startled. So her shawl falls back from her head and shows her white tossed hair with a frightened voice. The grey pony behind him. So the moment Kathleen mentioned the grey pony, suddenly Moria got so shocked that the shawl that she'd put on her head that fell back and her white hair were visible to everyone, and her voice was very frightened. She had a lot of fear in her voice, and she said that, did you say that there is a grey pony behind him? Kathleen again came near her mother and she asked, what is it ails you at all? That what is it that is troubling you so much? So what is troubling you so much? Moria speaking very slowly. So she was very, very slow when she said, I have seen the fearfulest thing any person has seen since the day bride Dara seen the dead man with the child in his arms. So Moria said that I have seen the most fearful thing that anybody could have seen. Even more fearful than bride Dara, who saw a dead man with a child in his arms. So this is an incident that she talked about. There was probably somebody by the name Dara in their village who had seen a dead man with a child in his arms. So she said that what I saw was even scarier than what bride Dara had seen. Kathleen and Nora were both surprised and they're like, what? What did you see? They crouched down in front of the old woman at the fire. Crouched down means they sat on their knees near that old woman who was sitting on the stool. Now, what did the old woman tell them? What is it that the old woman had seen? We are going to read that in the next part of our video. So, I will see you all now in my next lecture.